In this edition of Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous, they're always complaining, always complaining. If money ain't the problem, I'm telling you, man, like this is getting out of hand. Let's talk about Brian Kelly suing LSU for the entirety of his $54 million buyout and why this one ain't about money. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching, adapt and respond. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like this video and answer the question in the comments below. Are you moved? Are you moved at all that Brian Kelly has chosen to sue LSU to get the full $54 million buyout that, well, he is contractually obligated if LSU fired him without cause? Well, news has come out over the weekend and into this early week that LSU, in fact, does believe it fired Brian Kelly for cause. In case you wondered, cause is not losing football games. Like that's not fired for cause, okay? Fired for cause is detrimental to the university. Usually has to do with, things that happen off the field, not the results on the field. Part of the price of doing business is you might lose. Like that's just what it is. You can't expect to be fired for cause for losing. Otherwise, nobody ever would have a job. Nobody at all, ever. But that feels like what LSU is trying to do. Now, there's been some movement on here, right? So the lawsuit was filed in the judicial district of the parish of East Baton Rouge, 48 pages in the complaint, where LSU is working to fire Kelly for cause, $54 million, which is wild. According to the suit, LSU representatives had a call with Coach Kelly's representatives where LSU took the position that Coach Kelly had not been formally terminated and informed Coach Kelly's representatives for the very first time that LSU believed grounds for termination for cause existed. Okay. So they fired this man on October 26th following an embarrassing 49-25 loss to number 3 and undefeated Texas A&M, but there have been a lot of leading up to that. It's always interesting when somebody gets fired. Scott Woodward then cited that a move was probably going to happen for the on-the-field performance. And then Scott Woodward was relieved of his duties in rather public fashion, just neutered by LSU Governor Jeff Landry. And this is wild because, New Orleans and Baton Rouge being what they are, I can't tell you that the governor acting out of pocket in this way is new. I mean, this is also the state that allowed David Duke to rise to prominence, although David Duke was born in Tulsa. I bet you didn't even know those two facts, but here I am dropping the history bombs on you, just like Huey Long used to come down from his box and try to coach and call plays on the field for LSU. Wow, governor, long line of governors getting in the middle of LSU football because it is that important. Like it's their favorite contact sport aside from the contact sport that is politics. So according to the filing, LSU has worked to settle with Kelly, which is what many try to do multiple times. They try to offer him $25 million and then $30 million. He's going, no. My buyout says 54, 5-4. Doesn't say 3-5 or 3-0. It says 5-4. I want the full amount. So now it has been handed over to the LSU, Louisiana Attorney General, which I think is wild. The lawsuit also included communications from legal representatives for Kelly and LSU's representatives, aligning that Kelly was told told from Governor Landry's office that he would be reaching out to Kelly to discuss the terms of his buyout. And then we had the governor quote the $53 million liability in a press conference where he was also castigating Scott Woodward, a guy that he has long had it in for. And there's really a lot to go in there for, but essentially Scott Woodward and Jeff Landry ain't never been really on the same team. And Jeff Landry, like most politicians, never forgets a slight and took every opportunity there was to try to slight Scott Woodward. And I found it really funny that on the day that Woodward was fired, LSU women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey was supposed to come out to face press conference following, her Lady Tigers, and she didn't come out. She said, I'm not coming out for this. This is also a man that has turned around not just the women's basketball program, but also the baseball program. But this is also a man that watched Will Wade walk and go to McNeese State, where he's been pretty damn good. And Will Wade also brought in Ben Simmons to LSU, among other things. Like LSU athletics has been low-key very, very good at what we can expect to be an outstanding job. Like part for the course is them being very, very good. But now they're in the middle of trying to hire their next coach while also fighting to get the money back that they contractually obligated to pay to the former coach. So now you're on the hook for let's say $54 million, because it feels like Brian Kelly is going to try to make a point here. In a moment when everybody's getting fired and bought out, I wondered who was going to balk first. I was looking at these buyouts, and we're up to about $182 million so far, and that's before Mike Norvell probably loses his job. He could keep it, but they keep losing football games. It's going to be hard to keep that job too. But you look around and all this money is being paid out to these guys on the assumption of two things. One, they'll get another job, so that university will be off the hook of having to pay them what's left on the buyout. And two, that they'll be able to negotiate it down. So Sam Pittman allowed for his to be negotiated down to Arkansas. We don't even know if that man's going to go back into coaching later. We'll see. We'll see. I love Sam, and I wish good things for him. Hugh Freeze, I know, wants to get back into coaching. Billy Napier wants to be back in coaching. James Franklin went on College Game Day to say he wants to be back in coaching. Mike Gundy and Cale Gundy might be doing the old fusion team up, Dragon Ball Z style, to try to go take over some program and bring it back to good. I can't imagine who that might be. And I assume Brian Kelly wants to be a head coach somewhere too. But again, this is about, you're not going to treat me like this. You're not going to treat us like this. And I myself have said over time that Brian Kelly is not exactly the guy that you want out front as your PR campaign manager. But my goodness, guys, it feels like the more this goes on, the better Brian Kelly looks. And I did not expect that to be the case. Then you look at his track record, and everywhere he's gone, he's won. That includes LSU. They had a really great 10-win season where he produced a Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels. He didn't get enough credit for that, but that's because he was too busy yelling at everybody else about what's going on with his players or not. So he's getting mad at the players. He's getting mad at the media. He's getting mad at everybody but himself over the course of the last couple of years. And I always say, 3 things get you a job. Have people like you, be good at your job, be on time. People don't like you, and you're not good at your job, doesn't matter that you're on time. And that's where Brian Kelly found himself after the loss to A&M. No longer considered good at his job, and people didn't like him. You can get away with people not liking you if you win. You can do that anywhere you want. But as soon as winning stops, people are going to remember how you make them feel. And Brian Kelly did not leave a whole lot of people feeling great about him being the head coach at LSU. And there's only so much you can do about that. Meanwhile, LSU took a bad loss to Alabama. They'll got to play Oklahoma later this year. And they got to try to figure out who they're going to hire that's going to turn around their fortunes. And if it's Lane Kiffin, I think things will get better quicker rather than sooner, especially quicker rather than later, especially if he keeps on Blake Baker, which I think is going to be one of the hottest defensive coordinator hires in the sport next year. That defense is balling, but that defense has been balling since he took it over, right? Like, that was the thing. As soon as you got a guy in there that knew what he was doing, everything went to being back the way that it was. And now, well, shit, it is what it is. Ugh.